Hello, Libra. It's your turn for your reading. I am preparing to shuffle the cards and stuff. I just wanted to say, Libras, 2019, I think was a very difficult year for you guys. Sorry if I sound like I'm a cold. I have a kind of a cold. I think my allergies are coming back. So I do apologize. I just want to get this out of the way. Yeah, Libra, you've had a hard, difficult year. A lot of things that upset you, a lot of things you had to really take inventory for your life and realize that there were some things that were very painful that you had to let go. An idea, friendships, a lot of things that may have upset you in a way that you've never been upset before, and going through pains that you had to go through and endure. And I know with me as a Libra moon, it's been a very difficult year, 2019. We are in 2020, so I do feel like 2020 is a chance to redeem yourself. It's a chance to have the life that you want, whether it's new love coming in, whether a more solid foundation coming in for you guys. And I do feel like a lot of this past energy of 2019. Anyways, Libra, I feel like a lot of you have gone through a lot of changes in your life in 2019. We have a lot going on in 2020. I feel like for you guys, Jupiter is in Capricorn. So with that energy, I feel like I've been getting that for all of you, all the signs, that it's a grounding energy, but also it's really going to help our finances. So I do feel like a lot of positive change for you guys. Also in May, the North Node is going into Gemini, and the South Node is going into Sagittarius. So there's a lot more I could say for you guys. But Libra, we're gonna do January 1st and then 2020. So I'm just gonna read like a basic story because I feel like the last few videos I've done at the other sides, that was a lot easier. Alright, so first of all, we have the Seven of Cups, the Six of Cups, Queen of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, Justice, Temperance, and Three of Pentacles, and 8. So if you're like a January Libra, there's a lot of options for you. There's a lot of things, information you're receiving about you and another, I feel like. And I feel like it could involve family matters. It could involve, maybe you're not emotionally available for someone. But I still do feel like a lot of emotions this month. And it's just about getting in balance. It's not even your season. It's a lot of Capricorn energy, which maybe you feel like in some way it's restricting. Like, it's a good energy, but dealing with a lot of unresolved emotions that are surfacing up. A lot of things maybe you've been penting up within your core. Maybe you can't share or talk about. I do feel like with the Seven of Pentacles, a lot of these pentacle energies, I do feel like a lot of the things that you've been putting in time and effort, maybe some of you don't feel like you're getting those things, or some way it's taking longer time getting everything in place that you need to get in place. I also feel like for some of you, Seven of Pentacles has to do with maybe you want to slow down things. You don't want things to come yet. I also feel like there's this need to regain balance. And this, these are double whammies. So you could be feeling a slightly off balance with the different energy coming in and trying to transition. And I do feel like you could either be dealing with another Libra, or you could be dealing with a Sagittarius or water sign, Cancer preferably. I feel like there's a lot of imbalance in a situation, especially working together with someone. I do feel like in some way you're trying to work something out with someone. Also, too, you're trying to create the best outcome of a situation. I feel like there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of giving and receiving that needs to be done. That's what I feel like for you guys for the month of January. I do apologize again if I'm sounding not myself, because I'm kind of under the weather, but I wanted to get this out. All I have is you and Scorpio, so we're going to shuffle the cards more and see what we can get for 20. Alright, Libra. Show you the cards in a minute. I'm trying to get it all situated. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I do notice for some of you Libras, you've been doing a lot of research on things, maybe online, of someone or something, and I feel like you really need to get to the source. I feel like there's nothing wrong with searching out answers, doing research online. I just feel like a lot of Librans, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, and maybe it's some people in general, not just Libras, but I do feel like there's, I don't know, the innocent about Libra where they believe everything they hear and they don't really do accurate research about what is it from the source. So there's this need, I feel, Libra, I want to tell you straight up, be honest and frank. I feel like a lot of Librians, if you've been doing a lot of research on certain things, spiritual things concerning paganism or anything of that nature, I just feel like the best strategy with that is you need to talk to people who've been in this situation and are currently in this situation. I just feel like the need for some people, I've noticed, is to go by what they hear. And that's good and all, but why not ask someone who's actually in it? And I feel like the need is to find research about a specific thing, but not actually ask the person who's in it, Like, you don't go to someone who's inexperienced cooking for advice, And I feel like the need is to do that, go to someone who has no knowledge of something. So if you're curious about things, which is a great thing to have, I just feel like you need to get it from the source, from their mouth, from someone who actually knows what they're talking about instead of he said, she said. So this could be about, religion, or it could be about something you're looking into, about a person online or something, or spying or something. I just feel like Libra's trap is to just believe what people say, when actually you need to actually talk to people who've been there, actually are in it, instead of just assuming that you have the information based on these 20 people that you looked up online that knows it. You gotta do your research by actually going to the specific source of people that actually know what they're talking about instead of people that just don't, or they used to. I hate to be on the topic about paganism, but if you want to learn about paganism in any way or do some research, the best people you can go to about paganism is pagans. I just feel like if you're trying to do research on a specific thing, go to the person who actually knows the information instead of listening to online, because there are some, I admit, there are some things online that can get twisted up, and sometimes it's not accurate stuff. So it's okay to do research. I'm not putting that down anyway, but go to the actual person who's in it so they can actually verify this is what's going on. And not every pagan, not everyone in a particular religion are like everybody else. Not every Catholic are the same, you know? I just came across today someone who's a Libra or claims to be a Libra, doing a lot of research in her past videos about paganism. Like, it's coming up in her videos, and I really want to tell her off. She used to be an old friend of mine. But yeah, you really need to do your research. But not just your research, you need to actually talk to people who've been in it. And every pagan that I have personally met are different. There's like not one that's the same. Or people, and this is what gets me, and I'll close with this and get into your reading to make this conflicting. I feel like Libra's tendency is to find facts that are good, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to you guys, I know. But you tend to look at people who were at one time pagan. I've seen that before. And it kind of annoyed me because, yeah, they've been there, but they changed their status quo and went into Christianity. How is that person compared to someone that you actually know in paganism? And that's the thing. Not everyone who even gets out of paganism, has the same experience. Like, for example, if you're playing with a Ouija board and you're a pagan or whatever, and then you get freaked out by ghosts and spirits, well, that's going to be a traumatic event for you. So I feel like, you don't ask people who got out of it. You ask people who are actually in it. Because then you can, it's okay to do that. I'm not saying don't do it. But ask people who actually are in it versus going to someone who's out of it. Because everyone has their experience and everyone tells it like it is. Just because someone became Christian out of paganism doesn't mean a person who's in paganism has the same experience. You know what I mean? So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing research. Do your research. I love that about Libras. But I feel like the need is not just do your research on a particular interest. Actually go to the source. Actually talk to the person about whatever you're thinking instead of assuming or going with whatever people are saying. He said, she said, don't do this because it's against this. Well, actually go to the person, okay? Anyways, that's off my chest. I might have to make a separate video about that because it's really festering inside, and I feel like people need better information than what Google could give them. Actually talk to people who actually are in it. And like I said, some people who come into Christianity and they've had that lifestyle, it's not the same as someone who's actually in it. It's different. And not all, like I said, not all pagans are the same. There's multiple different versions of paganism, just like Christians, Catholics, Hindu, Islam. Come on. Anyways, get your facts from the right source. Alright, Libra. Alright, 2020, what's going on? There could be a lot of politics going on for Libras. I don't know. A lot of contentions with people. I don't know. You have the Knight of Pentacles, 7 Swords, Knight of Swords, 6 of Pentacles, 4 of Cups, 2 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, Page of Swords, 3 of Swords, and the Magician, Lovers, Ace of Cups. So the energies I'm feeling, I feel a lot of air, pentacles, and cups. You could be dealing with double Gemini placements, those who have double Gemini. Also Virgo, I'm feeling. Alright, Libra. I feel like you're on the right track in 2020. But I feel like a lot of you are coming against resistance. And it's not necessarily resistance of change. It's about getting out of this mindset that you have all the answers. You're collecting information from something, like I was saying, a source. I'm not trying to put it in a conflicting time. But there's a lot of conflict around you. I feel like when it comes to where you want to go. I do feel like there's clear communication coming in 2020. It may be something that has to do with, I don't know why I'm getting Gemini, Pisces, Cancer. I do feel like it's giving and receiving situation, especially in your relationships. I feel like there's a lot of giving and receiving. I do feel like in the middle month, if I count it correctly, January, February, March, April, May. So May, we are coming in the season of the North Node is going into Gemini, leaving Cancer, and going into Sagittarius of the South Node, or a South Node of Sagittarius, and Capricorn's leaving. So there could be some disappointment of some kind. I'm also feeling anxiety. You know, Libras aren't known for anxiety. Maybe you're worried about something and you're juggling, which that's a normal Libra thing to do. And I feel like further on, it's about managing your money. It's about not holding back. And I feel like there's maybe this need to hold back. But no one in 2020 is really going to hold back. I feel like that's probably not a good idea or strategy. Alright, so I do feel like moving along, Libra, there's a lot of new beginnings with conflicts and heartbreak. I also feel like it has to do with you creating something, maybe with the Gemini. It also has to do with coming in union with someone you love, someone that you've created time, energy, and space with, and having a new beginning with a Gemini, possibly, or just somewhat of a soulmate, maybe twin flame dynamic, and a new beginning with them. So I do feel like overall energy for 2020, you got to get out of your head. You got to get out of the conflicts with hearing something based on actual facts of what's really going on. And I feel like some Libras, and I recently heard another Libra that I don't personally know, but I've overheard in a conversation that a Libra was telling someone, a younger person, basically something that wasn't even true, and it's like they're thinking they're lying when they're really not. So I do feel like there's this need right now, presently, Libra, where you have to get the facts. You can't just believe what someone says. It's easy to get set in your ways. It's easy to get set in your belief. But that's probably your danger zone this year. Just a little few days ago, I've heard something about that, and it's like, Libra, you really got to get your information. And like today, I watched a video of someone I used to know, and this person did not get their facts straight. And I'm like, for example, they were talking about Christmas, and they were saying that Odin is the god of death, when he really isn't. I mean, he's associated with a lot of things, but he's not the god of death. And I think she was saying he's a Greek god. He's not a Greek god. He's a Norse of mythology. And like, for me, I'm not trying to condemn anyone who's Christian or anything. That's not what I'm about. But I do feel like a lot of people hold tightly to their belief. that what if in some way everything that they've been told, I'm not saying it's true or not, but what if there's a possibility that everything that they've been taught is not correct in some form? What if through time, the game, uh, what is it called? The game Telephone. How accurate is that when someone tells someone in the game to get, by the end, if you have 5 people and you're the person that has to tell each of these 5 person, a message has to go around in circle with these 5 people, you think by the end it would come out exactly the same? It wouldn't. And I'm saying there could be a possible, it could. I'm just saying throughout history, if you really look into history, if you do your research the way you're supposed to, you will find out that there are some pieces of the Bible that has been deleted, that has been edited. And if you know anything about Constantine actually wrote the Bible. And he was associated with the Catholic Church. And I'm not a professional at this. I'm no pro, but what I do know is a lot of it doesn't add up. It really doesn't. But like I said, you have to do your research and knowing what is your belief on things. Because I feel like you can't solely believe what you've been hearing, I feel like the need is to believe what your parents tell you is true, what your preacher tells you is true. But what if in the midst somehow something got scrambled and it wasn't true? It's like, how true is it to tell your child, and this is an example, I'm not against it, to tell your child all their life that Santa Claus is real, when they're really not. It's the same thing, Libra. And I feel like there's a need to really do your research this year, to really push yourself further, and just don't believe or hear gossip. I think that's the thing too. We hear a traumatic thing and we want to say, well, someone so told me this. Otherwise, well, did you actually talk to that person? That's the thing. If you didn't talk to the person, then how do we know it's actual truth? Just like the game of telephone. You get 5 people in the same room with different beliefs, different ideas. How do you expect each of those 5 people, by the time that 5th person's turn is up, how do you expect them to actually tell the truth? Or somehow through the communication line it didn't get clear. You know what I mean? So it's easy to back up your belief system by everything you've been heard. But one thing I've learned more than anything, especially being with my fiance, is you really need to question everything. Because I feel like we live in a generation where we're solely sold on everything our parent has taught us, everything the church has taught us, when in some way each of those organizations that we associate with are flawed. And what are they flawed with? Flawed people. I'm not saying the truth isn't out there. What I'm saying is everything you've been told as a child, just like the whole thing with Santa Claus. Just like a child believes everything you hear, doesn't mean when you get older that he's not true. Just means that, everything that's passed down to you through generations, whether it's in a religion form or the Bible or anything, doesn't mean it's actual truth if you don't do your research. So it's like, are you believing what you've been taught is to be true, or are you believing in your heart because it's actually what you've actually looked into? And I think the misconceptions of a lot of Christians, and I'm not trying to make this like I hate Christians, I really don't. I love everybody. I feel like everyone is connected. And all that religions point to one message, and that's love. Anything outside of that is fear. But the real question to ask yourself, Libra, and I've asked myself this countless times, is, are you living in some way your truth, your family's truth, your generation truth, your pastor's truth, your Bible's truth? Because you got to think, if the Bible was written by a man, which was pretty much Constantine, the story as what I've looked into, I could be wrong, you never know, but you got to think, if humans in some way created this world that we live, they created buildings, skyscrapers. A lot of things are man-made, and a lot of people don't understand that. Even religion is man-made. And I think a lot of people misconstrue things and tie them in a knot and say, this is a present, this is a gift from above, when they don't really look at the surface of things, really take the time to understand history as for what it is. That not everything you've been taught is true. Not everything that you rely on as truth is truth. And I feel like a lot of people grow up, especially in religious families, thinking that just because the Bible says something to make it true, when in fact nobody says, and I've never really heard it, nobody really says, what about your truth? What is true to you? If every human being was cut off on the face of the earth, what would be your truth? There was no religion. You wouldn't need religion because you have yourself. And that's my point. At the end of the day, you have yourself. No one's there to guide you. No one's there to help you. And no one's going to save you. So you have to save yourself. But yeah, I'm not trying to make it where I'm trying to be biased of everyone's opinion of Christianity. I love everybody the same. I'm just trying to get a message across in some way, something to think about, something to chew on. But it's like, what is your truth? And that's really hard when you think about it deep down inside as a Libra. What is your truth? If you cut out the whole world, if you cut out religion, what is there to base your decision on, for life, for existence? If there was no such thing as religion, if there was no such thing as a Bible, if there was no religion, there was no people around, just you, what would your truth be? Something to think about, and I've had to think about it countless times. Because I feel like Libras get in the misconception of living out everyone's story instead of their own story, basing logic on religious organizations, when at the end of the day, if those things were taken away from you, if there was only you to figure out things, then, it would change. It would change tremendously. You got you and pretty much an organism of God, the universe. So it's like, I think a lot of people get stuck in the religion system, think that this is the way to live, thus saith the Lord. But at the end of the day, you only got yourself, Everything can be taken away from you in some form. And then it's like, what do you got to look for? What do you got to live for, Just an interesting thought. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great year. And yeah, try to take what I've said and try to do some research, actual research. You'll be surprised at the research when you really look at it. There's countless possibilities to things. Eye-opening experience, just not what you've always been told. I'm not trying to sound like a bitch, but I'm trying to express to you guys, because I've seen a lot of people do that through my time. Growing up and stuff, they base something based off of what they hear is to be true, when no one really stands in their own truth. And then when you don't have your family around, when you don't have the Bible around, when you don't have church around, then what do you have to stand on when all that's taken, you know? Anyways, I love you guys. I wish you guys all the best for 2020. Bye-bye.